Have you seen what Magicycle's putting out lately? It was just a couple days ago. Somebody made a post on their forum saying that they were going out of business. And then all of a sudden, I see all these posts from Magicycle employees saying, "We're not going out of business. You'll see in a few days." And they literally released so many different models. Today we're going to talk about all of the new models, all of the different specs for each, and we're just going to talk a little bit about each one separately. The Magicycle Commuter is a step-over, lightweight electric bike. Now I believe they have other colors than just yellow, but currently they only have yellow on their website. So stay tuned, they may update that at a later date. Currently you can get the yellow one. It has a very small battery, but you can't see the battery, and I wonder why. I believe the battery is integrated into the frame, so this looks just like a normal bike. It kind of looks like the Aerial Rider Ideal in a way. But again, it's a 52 volt bike, and we'll go through the specs in just a little bit. Here's the front of it. You can see the headlight is mounted up here on the handlebars. Usually they're mounted down here on the lower frame where the forks are, but it kind of looks like the bike sits upright a little bit, like it's slanted, so maybe that's why they did that. I don't know. It's got this little rack here. I don't know if it holds anything or if it's just for looks, but it does have that. Looks like most of the wires integrated into the frame. As you can see, the wire goes through the top tube here down to the brakes. Then the rest of the cabling goes through right here. Looks like it's got a charge port right here for where the battery is integrated, and that's really cool. If you look at this photo right here, it says Magicycle underneath. I think that's pretty cool. It's a nice touch. So minimal branding, I'm really liking that about their newest bikes. They got a lot of simplicity in their designs, and you'll see that throughout. It's got a cool kickstand that's mounted underneath in the middle, right in the middle. You shouldn't get any pedal lock or anything with this one, at least from what I can tell. Yeah, so it looks like you should still be able to get the pedals to go all the way around. This is a cool looking bike. Now this one is $15.99, and you can get a discount on all of these bikes using my code Randy100. If you use Randy100, it really supports the channel. Now this rack is a little bit different than anything I've ever seen. Again, I don't know if you can mount anything to this. Maybe you can just mount panniers to it. That's kind of what it looks like. But we'll see, I guess, once they release them. Hopefully I get a chance to test drive all of these, but we'll see what happens. Looks like it's got mechanical disc brakes, which is all you really need for this bike. It's not super powerful. So here you go. As it states, the battery is integrated into the down tube, which makes it more elegant, makes it look like a regular bike. That's pretty cool. It has a belt drive system instead of a chain. So belts are quieter, they're smoother, they don't need any maintenance as far as grease or chain lube or anything like that. That's a nice feature. You don't see that on the commuters very much. It has Tetro M300 mechanical disc brakes. Here are the specs. It only has a 7 amp hour battery, so it says you can get 30 to 40 miles, and that's because it's a 350 watt motor. I've never seen a 52 volt battery on a 350 watt hub motor, so that's interesting. It does have a backlit display. Let's see if we can see that up here. There's no real good picture of it, but you can kind of see it right there. It's attached to the handlebar. The weight is 56 pounds, and you can't remove the battery to make it lighter. So if you're going to put it on a rack, make sure your rack can support 56 pounds if you're looking to buy this bike. Now the rider height is 5'7" to 6'5", so it's got a pretty wide range. I would say mostly men would be interested in this bike just because of the style and the size, unless you're a tall woman. If you're a taller woman and you're looking at this, you should probably be fine. Top tube bikes are pretty hard to step over, so keep that in mind. You may have to get used to leaning your bike over and swinging your leg over like that. Now it does look like the display has a USB port so you can charge your phone while you're riding. It has a front suspension fork, although this looks like a rigid fork to me on their pictures, so I don't think it comes with a front suspension fork. Belt freewheel single speed, so there is no shifter on this bike. It is a single speed bike with a top speed of 20 miles per hour. Has 180 millimeter disc brakes, no throttle, so that's interesting. So the only way that you can use the electric is by pedaling. So here's all the different components that it has. Here's the specs as far as maximum weight. So if you weigh more than 265 pounds, this bike's not for you. But that's the Magicycle Commuter, step over, lightweight, electric bike in Dawn Yellow. Next up, we have the Ocelot Pro, long range, step through, fat tire electric bike. I really find this one interesting. It looks like this one only comes in white, but I like how they're minimizing their branding. Now they do have it in a couple places. They probably have the logo up here in the front, but they don't have that giant Magicycle logo like they do on the original Magicycle Cruiser. Now this is a 20 by 4 inch fat tire e-bike. It is a step through design. Looks like it has the battery integrated into the frame. We'll learn more about that as we go through the specs. Looks like it has front suspension, a rear rack, fenders, so it's got all the premium features that you'd want on a bike. I think it's really sleek looking. It's got the cool headlight like the Cruiser does. Looks like the handlebars are a little bit taller, a little bit more of a rise, but that may be because of the low frame. The big thing about this, it has a 20 amp hour LG battery, so you're going to get quite a bit of range with this. Comes with a 3 amp fast smart charger, which I have that one for my Cruiser and it's amazing. It charges the battery super quick. It has a 750 watt hub motor with 96 Newton meters of torque, so that's a step up from the Cruiser, which currently has 86 Newton meters of torque, but they do have a new model. We'll go through that next. It has Tektro 180 millimeter hydraulic disc brakes, so they're not mechanical, they're hydraulic. That's great. Has a colored LCD display. I think it's the same one that's on the Cruiser, but we'll look at that in a second. It says a 70-mile range per charge. Now, those numbers are usually skewed a little bit. Equipped with Kenda 20 by 4 inch tires, and it accommodates riders 4'10" up to 6'2" comfortably. I would say if you're 6'3" or 6'4", you may still be able to ride this bike. I'm 6'2", so I'm right at the top. I would like to try this one out for sure. It's definitely really cool looking. I know a lot of people are not really into the step through design. I personally think this one looks really sleek and a lot different than a lot of the other step through bikes. This one might be one of my favorites out of all of them, but it's not my favorite. I'll show you my favorite at the end. Current price is $1,989. You can save $100 by using my code RANDY100 and it'll be $1,889. If you use my code, it directly supports the channel and helps Magicycle see that we're really here to play. The Magicycle consists of a 2-core system, an MPS and CFS. MPS is Magipower System, the heart of Magicycle. Has a brand new motor that produces 96 Newton meters of torque. So that will help you climb hills like no problem. Their current model of just the Cruiser has 86 Newton meters and it's super strong. The battery is 5,000 milliamp hours, 52 volt, 20 amp hour LG lithium ion battery. That's a huge battery. Should provide you a lot of range. So not only are you going to get a pretty fast bike, a pretty torquey bike, a bike that can climb hills, and a bike that will last long. I think this is one of their best models that they're releasing. The display and the control panel and everything is just like it is on the Cruiser. Has a color display. This is a really nice display. And then the control panel right here. The charger is a 3 amp fast charger like I was talking about earlier. It is super fast. It does charge your battery pretty quickly compared to those 2 amp chargers. And it does have a built-in fan, so the fan runs whenever it's charging. Let's go through the specs. Battery is a 52 volt 20 amp hour LG battery. Has a 3 amp fast charger, 60 to 80 miles of range. Those are not real world numbers. 750 watt brushless motor. Has a 22 amp controller, same as the Cruiser. Has the color LCD display. It takes 4 to 7 hours to charge. Maximum payload capacity is 350 pounds, so that's a rider weight and load. So whatever you have on that back rack. The bike weighs 73 pounds, which is pretty heavy. I wonder how much the Cruiser Pro weighs. We'll see that in just a second. This one does have a SIS index shifter. So it does have 7 levels of pedal assist, which most likely can be changed to 5 and maybe even 3. Just like the Cruiser has. And it does have a 12 magnet cadence sensor. The components on here are 20 by 4 inch Kenda tires, hydraulic lockout front suspension. The brake levers are aluminum alloy grip levers with a motor cutoff switch. Half twist throttle, integrated front and rear lights with brake lights, Welgo pedals, 14 to 28 tooth freewheel, 180 millimeter disc brakes, 6 volt LED light, a Shimano 7-speed gear shift system, which is probably the SIS index, and it's probably just going off of it the Altus derailleur. Now I wish they would make this model in black or the midnight blue color. I think that would look pretty sweet. They should have 2 different colors, white and midnight blue like the Cruiser model, but currently it looks like they only have white in this one. I do really like the minimal branding, not a whole lot of logos. I hate it when companies just plaster their logo on every section of the bike. I'm glad that they took the initiative and did minimal branding. It looks like they don't even have it on the forks now, so it looks like it's just right here on the main frame and small lettering, a logo up here, and then that one on the side where the chain protector is. Next up we have the Jaguarundi. I don't really know how to pronounce that. If somebody knows, let me know. This is a step-through e-bike. This one looks similar to many other bikes out there in this design, but this is their step-through frame, a little bit lower cost than the Ocelot Pro. This is also a 52 volt e-bike with a 15 amp hour battery, has a 600 watt hub motor, so lesser motor, lesser battery, lesser torque than the Ocelot Pro. Both of those are step-through e-bikes with 20 inch by 4 fat tires, but the Ocelot Pro is the more premium model. This has hydraulic disc brakes, which is a plus. It has 7 levels of pedal assist, the Kenda fat tires, and max range of 55 miles. And our estimated rider height is the same as the Ocelot Pro. Again, if you are interested in any of these bikes that we're looking at today, Randy100 is the code you should use. Don't pay attention to these. So let's take a look at their pictures. This is what it looks like when it's folded up. You know, I didn't notice this before, but the Ocelot Pro does not fold at all. So that's one thing you need to keep in mind, that the Ocelot Pro does not fold at all. And here's what it looks like when it's all folded up. Now this one has a little bit different display than their other bikes. It's just a black and white display. This has a 600 watt nominal hub motor with 70 Newton meters of torque. Has a 52 volt, 15 amp hour Shark battery. Here's the display. I have this display on another e-bike and it's pretty plain, but it does its job for allowing you to view your miles per hour and your mileage and all that very easily in daylight or at night. This also includes a 3 amp fast charger, which should charge that 15 amp hour battery pretty quickly. Here's your specs. Again, 52 volt, 15 amp hour battery with a 3 amp fast charger, 30 to 55 miles of range, a 52 volt, 600 watt brushless gear motor. The controller is 22 amps like all the other bikes. Has a maximum payload capacity of 350 pounds, just like the Ocelot Pro, and it weighs 76 pounds. It has front suspension with lockout, has the half twist throttle, Well-Go pedals, 14 to 28 tooth freewheel, 180 millimeter hydraulic disc brakes, has the same light 7-gear SIS index shifter, and that's pretty much it. Here you go. There's the recommended height and all the specs of the bike. And finally, probably my favorite bike out of all of them, just because I own the Cruiser, but they now have a Cruiser Pro. And it's exactly like the Cruiser, it just has a bigger battery, a different motor, and probably everything else is just the same. I haven't looked at this one yet, so let's take a look at it. Now they do have the step over and step through frames for this, just like they do on the regular Cruiser. So it looks like the high step of the Cruiser Pro only comes in midnight blue, but the step through comes in pearl white and midnight blue. So you have your choice of colors with the step through, and then it only comes in midnight blue with the step over. So we're just going to look at the step over, but the specs are exactly the same for the step through. So this is the same voltage and amp hour of the Ocelot Pro, but this is a 26 by 4 inch fat tire e-bike compared to 20 by 4. Between the two, I think the 26 by 4 is more comfortable, but they are also bigger bikes, so it all depends on what you want. From a man's perspective, I personally love the Cruiser. I think the design is great, super comfortable, and it's really easy to ride. Very nimble for as big as it is. Now, turning on small corners and things like that's a little bit harder with a bigger bike. As far as comfort goes, the Cruiser frame and setup is super comfortable. So this is just going to be like the Cruiser as far as that aspect goes. There's nothing else different. So the battery is a 52 volt 20 amp hour LG battery with a fast charger like all the other bikes. Has a 750 watt motor with 96 Newton meters of torque, just like the Ocelot Pro. It has 7 levels of pedal assist, hydraulic suspension front fork, and it has hydraulic brakes, Tektro hydraulic brakes with 180 millimeter rotors. So that's an upgrade from the standard Cruiser model. Now with the Cruiser model, they did offer hydraulic brake upgrades, so you could add those on, but it comes included with the Pro model. Again, if you're interested in any of these bikes, the Cruiser Pro, the Ocelot, the other weird name, or the Commuter, or even just the standard Cruiser, use my code Randy100. So they have upgraded the brakes, the battery, and the motor on this bike compared to the standard Cruiser. Again, it's a 750 watt motor just like before, but it has 96 Newton meters of torque. So a little bit better torque means you can climb hills faster. So this battery will actually fit on the Cruiser, and they are going to be selling them separately. I don't know when or how much they're going to be or anything like that, but this is the same design as the Cruiser. So you will be able to just buy the battery and add to your current model if that's what you want to do. Now you won't get the increased torque because that's a whole new motor. You do get the extended range by adding a 20 amp hour battery if you decide to do that. The controller looks like the same as the regular Cruiser, and the display is the exact same. 3 amp fast charger. I love the midnight blue. I think it's a really, really cool color. And the branding on this bike, if we look at it here, it's again minimal. They barely have any logo showing. Of course, you got the protector guard down here for your chain, and then look how small that logo is on the battery. That's nice. So here's the specs. We can go through them again. 52 volt 20 amp hour LG battery, 3 amp fast charger, up to 80 miles of range, a 22 amp controller, 750 watt brushless gear hub motor, a color display with USB charging, 7 levels of pedal assist. It has hydraulic brakes by Tektro, 180 millimeter rotors, 14 to 28 tooth freewheel, just like the Cruiser. So the differences between the Cruiser and the Cruiser Pro are that it has hydraulic brakes, a bigger battery, and a more powerful motor. So here's all the specs. You can pause if you want to look at it. Here you go. So the Magicycle Cruiser Pro is listed at $19.89. Again, you can save $100 with the code Randy100. That'll bring it down to $18.89. So a little bit more expensive than the Cruiser model just because it does have the upgraded battery and motor and the hydraulic brakes. I think it's increased in price by about $400, which is about right. And then it is also the same price as the Ocelot Pro. So it really just depends on what you want. Both of those bikes are kind of like cousins. The Ocelot Pro has smaller tires as far as the diameter. The width are the same, but the Cruiser Pro has 26 inch. The Ocelot Pro has 20 inch. So that's the difference between those two bikes. And the Ocelot Pro is only a step through frame. These are the new bikes by Magicycle. If you found this video helpful and you liked it, go down there and hit the like button. Leave a comment down below and let me know which bike you like the best, or if you have multiples that you like, let me know. And if you want to see more videos just like this one, go down there and hit that red subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. It supports me. I put a lot of time and effort into these videos. So support me by using my code if you buy one of these bikes. Again, that's Randy100. Have a good day.